Righteousness exalts a nation. We read in Proverbs 14:34 that righteousness exalts a nation, but that sin is a reproach to any people. In Proverbs 29:2, we read that when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. Yes, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 4 says, it is justice. It is by justice that a king gives stability to the land. It is by justice that a king gives stability to the land. And in Proverbs 29:18, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Some translations render the verse as, where there is no leadership integrity, the people do perish. What this means is that leadership integrity is fundamental and critical to national development, to national unity, and national peace and prosperity. This is very well illustrated in the history of Israel. When they had good leaders, good God-fearing leaders like Joshua, like David, like Hezekiah, like Josiah, like Jehoshaphat, like Nehemiah and Ezra, they conquered their enemies, they experienced restoration, and they enjoyed peace and prosperity. But when they had leaders who lacked integrity and the fear of God, like Saul, like Jeroboam, like Ahab, like Nadab, you remember Ahab, the husband of Jezebel. When they had those kind of leaders, they were easily defeated by their enemies, by enemy forces. In one case, Israel was not only conquered by their adversaries, they were enslaved and deported to Babylon for 70 years. And to illustrate the point further, there is this report in the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 47, verse 23 to 25, that, I quote, Solomon rested with his ancestors, meaning he died, leaving one of his stock, one of his children, as his successor. And he described that child as the stupidest member of the nation. Enya, are you hearing? The stupidest member of the nation, brainless Rehoboam, whose policy drove the nation to rebel. Next, Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who made Israel to commit sin and set Ephraim on the way of evil. From then on, it says, their sins multiplied exceedingly as to drive them out of their country, and they tried out every kind of wickedness until vengeance overtook them. It begins from who? Leader. It begins from leadership without integrity. Recall that, as is recorded in the 12th chapter of the book of Kings, it was this Rehoboam who succeeded his father Solomon as king of Israel and Judah. When he ascended the throne, the elders of Israel went to him. You remember that David united the two kingdoms of Israel and Judah. The elders went to him and complained about how hard life had been under King Solomon, his father, saying, your father made our yoke heavy. Now, therefore, we beg you, lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke that he placed on us, and we will serve you. Just lighten our burden. His counselors, Rehoboam's counselors, advised him on how to respond to the elders with compassion. But he disregarded the advice of his counselors, and instead he told the elders that, I quote, my father beat you with whips, but I will beat you with bloody chains. When the elders heard the response of King Rehoboam, they resolved to separate themselves from the kingdom of David. So they shouted, to your tents, O Israel. That's the origin. To your tents, O Israel. Look, now to your own house, O David. This was the beginning of the disintegration of the kingdom that was united under David and Solomon.